Welcome in Chiefs Kingdom to Chiefs Latest, your one-stop spot for everything Kansas City Chiefs in 15 minutes or less. It is your host Calvin Silvers. Happy Friday. The Chiefs back into the swing of things out at Missouri Western. They had Thursday off, but now back into the grind of an Andy Reid training camp. We know it's not easy, but it's got to be done. However, we're going to turn our attention to something that flipped the script yesterday in the NFL. And no, I'm not talking about the Hall of Fame game. I'm talking about something that could affect the Chiefs a little more than that. Now, I'm jumping the gun, so before we dive into the action, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications because we have daily, that's right, daily videos here at Chiefs Latest. You're not going to want to miss any of the action. So hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, as it not only helps me in the channel, but it's going to help you stay up to date with everything Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I mentioned something that kind of flipped the script yesterday in the NFL, and it wasn't the Hall of Fame game. No, I'm talking about Terry McLaurin's trade request from Washington. It's a bombshell request, and Chiefs Kingdom, they should be on high alert. Not necessarily because I think we can get him in a trade, but because he could land on an AFC West team. But that's besides the point. We need to look at his 2024 All-Pro season. 82 catches, 1,096 yards, and 13 touchdowns. And we know he helped power the Commanders to the NFC Championship. But right now, stalled contract talks have him eyeing the exit, which is kind of insane to me. You're 30 years old. You know, the older you get at receiver, the less value you have. Now, yes, you're coming off a great season, but again, 30 years old. And why would you want to leave the Commanders? You're working with a quarterback who got you to the NFC Championship in his rookie season. Now, again, this is likely all just leverage to try to get the money he wants, but it's a little nerve-wracking if you're the Commanders, or just at least head-scratching to me if you're Scary Terry. But the Chiefs, with $20.6 million in cap space, I just don't think they can swing his $30 million plus market tag that he has, especially, again, at age 30. But they built, Mahomes' wide receiver core on a budget. Rice is on a rookie deal. Worthy is entering his second season. Brown, Smith-Schuster, again, get him on a budget. But it's injuries that keep exposing this thin depth that the Chiefs always face year in and year out, at least the past 2 seasons at the wide receiver position. So yeah, this trade for, Scary Terry, that would juice Reed's offense, no doubt. But the real nightmare and the more likely possibility is that he's going to land on an AFC West team. You look at the Raiders, they have $38 million in cap space. They're craving a wide receiver one for Geno Smith right now, while the Chargers, who have $30 million in cap space, could pair, his boundary leverage with Lad McConkey's slot precision. And I don't see why that wouldn't help Justin Herbert. So, I'd love Mahomes to sling it to Scary Terry himself, but Spags facing him twice a year in the same division, that would be a defensive headache no matter how you look at it. He's got that deep threat ability and just ability to score in general. 13 touchdowns last season. That was second in the NFL. Of course, anything like that is going to give, the Chiefs secondary a challenge no matter how locked down they might be. So yes, his trade request is a long shot for the Chiefs to grab him, especially with their tight cap space and what he's asking for his market. But his 2024 dominance makes him a scary AFC West pickup for, the Raiders or the Chargers if Washington does decide to let him go. But I'm not saying that the Chiefs can never, get a big name to land at some point in the future because of this next topic that we are going to talk about. And that is looking at this George Karlaftis contract a little more. It's actually pretty team friendly. As we know, the Chiefs just locked up George Karlaftis with a 4-year, $88 million extension. And it's a masterclass in cap management because this deal keeps a rising edge rusher who, again, is already blowing my expectations through 2030 at a bargain. Now, Karlaftis was the 2022 30th overall pick. He was set to earn $17.5 million over the last 2 years of his rookie deal. Now he's got $62 million guaranteed, including a $20 million signing bonus and $32.3 million through 2026. So yes, way more cash up front for him, but again, you're not crippling the cap. His 2025 cap hit, only jumps roughly $3 million, and it stays flat at $15.3 million in 2027. So even in 2028 at $23 million, it's below market for a pass rusher with 10.5 sacks last year. So again, where it gets friendly, it's a backloaded, non-guaranteed $42.5 million for 2029 and 2023. That gives KC an escape hatch with just $4 million dead money if he's cut before 2029. So at 24, Karlaftis' deal averages $17.8 million a year, which is a steal. And with McDuffie and Rice needing extensions soon, this keeps the roster pretty flexible. And you had to get Karlaftis at this point. 115 tackles, 24.5 sacks, 56 QB hits, and 15 passes deflected in his career. Again, rolling guarantees $11 million for 2027, $18.8 million for 2028, and no dead money in 2030. Let the Chiefs pivot, and take a different direction if Karlaftis' play dips, especially, 2028, 2029. Again, his low early cap hits preserve space for stars. So Karlaftis' $88 million extension is a cap-friendly gem. Of course, more money up front, but you get a young edge rusher at $17.8 million per year with exit options. This just ensures that KC's pass rush stays fierce without breaking the bank, something that, is very, very important right now with all these extensions being handed out. But let's go back to training camp a little bit because there has been a roster spot that has been decided. Of course, we knew that the quarterback position was already decided, blah, blah, blah. But the punter position, that's right. Some of you might not have even known that there was a battle going on. But there was, and it is over. Matt Ariza, his leg has spoken. Dave Tobe stirred the pot again by calling the job open not too long ago. But the Chiefs waive Eddie Kaplisky, and he steals the starting spot. Ariza's cannon of a leg, honed at San Diego State with a 2021 Ray Guy Award, outshone Kaplisky's own Ray Gun credentials from USC. These were two great punters going at it. His 2024 season of 62 punts for 3,027 yards saw potential in flip fields, but again, Ariza's 9 touchbacks and 16th ranked inside 20 rate shows that he's still learning to pin teams deep, which I think has been every fan's biggest gripe when we talk about Ariza. But his opponent's precision was a threat. But again, his raw power showcased by a Super Bowl record of 51.8 yards per punt, I think that gives him the edge. He's only 25. He's got time to refine, his corner coffin game. But looking at some stats for Ariza in 2024, 62 punts, 3,027 yards, 41.5 net yards per punt. That ranked around the league, median. So indicates that he's solid, but once again, he's not elite. 40.3% or 25 punts that he had were inside the 20, but again, those 9 touchbacks was tied for the NFL most. He was 10th in yards per punt. So Ariza's 4.54 second hang time, left-footed spin, that does create some chaos for returners, but again, there is a need for better punt control to maximize your field position. So the Chiefs have their official punter, but his biggest weakness he needs to focus on in training camp is pairing his big leg with pinpoint placement. It's all we need to see from him. Avoid those touchbacks, and we will be in good position. Well, how about some bold predictions to end the week and head into your weekend here? Fansided dropped 3, that's right, 3 bold predictions for the Chiefs 2025 season, and I'm here to break down each of those 3. Now, first, they say that Mahomes will reverse his shrinking yards per attempt, which hit a career low 6.6 in 2024, way off his 9.5 peak. So I'm still skeptical, though. You have Worthy's concussion right now, Brown's ankle, and you just had previous bad luck in this room. Again, if you see a depleted room based on injuries, that's going to keep Matt Nagy from it's going to keep Matt Nagy from going deep, and he's going to lean on short routes. That's not going to help Mahomes' case. And again, the O-line, while, we love to hear what's going on at left tackle, it's still wobbly. Suamataia is losing ground. We don't know if Jalen Moore can actually survive a whole season. And Jawan Taylor is still shaky. If Mahomes has no pocket time, forget the vertical plays, especially with a depleted wide receiver room. The second bold prediction is that Josh Simmons will grade as an above-average left tackle. I buy him hitting average. I don't know about above average, but I see him at average. His camp battles against Omenihu and Mike Dana, that shows that he can hold the edge. But again, don't expect an all-pro season or anything. It's hard for a rookie just to step in that position and be good. And his third bold prediction was that Noah Gray would outcatch Travis Kelce. I just don't see this. Kelce had 57 more catches in 2024, and his Mahomes chemistry, it's untouchable. Gray's role will grow, don't get me wrong, but Kelce's the clutch target. When games are tight, who's going to be out on the field? When games are even close in the second half, who's going to be out there a majority of the time? And again, I'm expecting a revitalized, I'm expecting, Kelsey to go all out this year. He wants to end his career because it's likely his last on a high note, especially after coming off a season with career lows since the 2013 season. And again, Kelsey is still going to be on the field when the game's on the line. That's my biggest thing. Mahomes could get the job done and elevating talent and performing when he needs to, but a fast, healthy wide receiver room allows Nagy to feel comfortable with calling those seam routes and vertical schemes. Simmons' learning curve will likely hit as he's facing different styles each week, and he's having to deal with the grind of a full NFL season. So I'm not sold quite yet with all the injuries now. Now, if you would have asked me, last week, I would have told you I was sold. But right now, I am not necessarily sold on Mahomes airing it out with another depleted wide receiver room and a shaky O line. And Simmons should be solid, but again, he's not going to be elite. And Kelsey's still the top dog over Gray for targets in 2025. Well, that was Friday's episode here at Cheifs Latest. Let me know what you thought of the four topics, and is there any chance that we get Scary Terry at all, or do you see him landing in the AFC West? Let me know in the comments, and just let me know your overall thoughts so far of camp and your three bold predictions for the Chiefs heading into the 2025 season. I am your host, Calvin Silvers. Once again, you are listening to Cheifs Latest. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and turn on those notifications. And until next time, have a good one.